In life, one of the most powerful lessons you can ever learn is that your energy is sacred. Every day, you wake up with a limited supply of it. How you use that energy and who you allow to access it will shape not only your mood for the day, but also the trajectory of your entire life. Too often, people give away their energy freely without realizing the cost. They pour their emotions, dreams, and even their insecurities into conversations with people who have no intention of cherishing them. And the harsh truth is this: not everyone around you is rooting for you. Not everyone who listens cares, and not everyone who smiles is a friend. When you are too open, you expose yourself to hidden dangers. There are people who will take your kindness as weakness, who will use your vulnerability as ammunition, who will store every detail of your story in the back of their minds, waiting for the day they can use it against you. They may never reveal their intentions outright, but they're watching you, reading you, and making judgments about you with every word you share. That is why protecting your energy is not just a choice, it's survival. Think of your energy as a bank account. Every interaction is a transaction. Some people make deposits, they uplift you, inspire you, and add value to your life. Others only make withdrawals, they drain you, discourage you, and leave you feeling empty. If you are not careful, you will spend your life bankrupting your emotional bank account by pouring into people who never pour back. Protecting your energy means learning to control access. It means setting boundaries that prevent unnecessary withdrawals. It means being wise enough to recognize that not every ear deserves your story, and not every shoulder is strong enough to carry your burdens. There is incredible strength in restraint. The world tells us to share, to be transparent, to keep it real. But keeping it real doesn't mean giving everyone the raw material of your heart. Being authentic doesn't mean being careless. In fact, the most authentic thing you can do is to guard your peace. It is to know yourself so well that you don't need validation from people who were never meant to understand you in the first place. When you protect your energy, you stop begging for approval, and you start living in alignment with your own values. Some may call you secretive. Others may call you distant. That's fine. Let them call you what they want. Because the truth is, your silence is your shield. What people don't know, they can't manipulate. What they can't see, they can't sabotage. And what they can't read, they can't rewrite. Your privacy is not weakness, it is power. It keeps you in control of your narrative, your emotions, and your direction. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful people often reveal the least? They don't move loudly, but their results shake the world. They don't tell you what they're working on, but when it's ready, you have no choice but to see it. That is the model you must embrace if you want to protect your energy. Speak less, do more, reveal less, achieve more. Protecting your energy means recognizing that your dreams are seeds, and like seeds, they cannot grow when constantly exposed. They need soil, they need protection, and they need time. You don't put seeds on the sidewalk and expect them to flourish. You plant them in silence and let them grow in the dark until they're strong enough to break the surface. When you start to protect your energy, something powerful happens. You attract better people. You see, energy is contagious. The more you conserve yours, the more valuable it becomes. People who respect boundaries will notice your strength and honor it. People who only came to drain you will quietly disappear. Your circle will shrink, but it will also strengthen. And when you look around, you'll realize that the fewer people you share your inner world with, the more peace and clarity you gain. Protecting your energy does not mean shutting people out entirely. It does not mean living in fear or isolation. It means being wise enough to discern who deserves your openness and who doesn't. Some people have earned the right to hear your heart. Others have not. It is your job to separate the two. Protecting your energy means asking yourself before you speak, does this person need to know this? Will they honor this, or am I just giving away pieces of myself to someone who will never handle them with care? When you start filtering your openness through that lens, You stop wasting energy on those who secretly read you with the wrong intentions. Life is too short to constantly defend yourself from attacks you invited by being too open. The fewer battles you fight, the more strength you have to focus on your purpose. The less you explain yourself, the more time you have to build yourself, the less you let people read you, the more power you have to write your own story without interference. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is necessary. It is how you survive, how you succeed, and ultimately, how you find peace. So stop being open to everyone. Stop handing out pieces of your soul like free samples. Stop allowing people who don't deserve your light to drain your fire. Protect your energy. Because once you master that, nothing and no one can dim what's inside you. Privacy is not weakness. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is not fear. Privacy is power. In a world where everyone is rushing to tell their story, where people broadcast their lives for attention and approval, the greatest strength you can have is knowing when to remain silent. The less people know about you, the less control they have over you. The less they see of your plans, the less they can interfere with them. And the less they hear of your struggles, the less they can use them against you. Privacy is not about hiding. It is about protecting. It is about guarding the most valuable parts of yourself from the wrong eyes, the wrong ears, and the wrong intentions. Think about it. The strongest trees do not reveal their roots, yet their roots are the very reason they stand tall. The most powerful storms form quietly over the ocean before they shake the earth. Greatness, growth, and transformation often happen in silence long before the world can see the results. But too many of us expose ourselves too soon. We announce every move, every goal, every idea before it's ready. And when those plans fall apart, or when they are sabotaged, we wonder what went wrong. What went wrong is that we gave people access to something that wasn't strong enough to stand on its own yet. Privacy is protection for your dreams. It is the shelter your vision needs while it is still developing. When you share everything, you invite interference. Not everyone who listens wants you to succeed. Some are curious, some are envious, some are simply waiting for you to slip so they can say, "I knew it." By keeping certain things private, you deny them the chance to interrupt your growth. You give yourself the space to nurture your vision until it is unshakable. But privacy is not just about your goals. It's about your emotions, your struggles, and your personal life. Not every battle you fight needs an audience. Not every pain you carry should be put on display. Some people don't want to help you heal. They want to know your wounds so they can strike harder. When you keep your private life sacred, you maintain control over your own healing. You decide who deserves to know your scars and who doesn't. That's not being secretive, that's being wise. There's a difference between being known and being understood. You can be known by thousands of people, yet only understood by a few. And in that truth lies freedom. You don't owe the world your story. You don't have to explain every choice, every failure, or every decision. The right people don't need explanations, and the wrong people won't believe them anyway. Privacy gives you the freedom to move without justification, to grow without interruption, and to succeed without unnecessary noise. Some people are addicted to exposure. They believe that if they are not constantly posting, constantly talking, constantly proving something, then they are not relevant. But the truth is, the loudest people often have the least real power. Noise doesn't equal strength. Exposure doesn't equal success. In fact, the more you reveal, the more vulnerable you become. Privacy flips that equation. The quieter you move, the stronger your foundation becomes. The less you reveal, the more unpredictable you are. And unpredictability is power, because no one can attack a plan they don't know exists. Consider this: the most valuable things in the world are hidden. Gold is buried deep in the ground. Diamonds are hidden beneath layers of rock. Even your most vital organs are protected within your body, guarded by bones and muscles. Why? because things of value are always protected. So why would your dreams, your peace, your emotions, or your vision be any different? If you treat your life like it has no value by exposing everything to everyone, don't be surprised when people handle it carelessly. Protect it, guard it, keep it private, because privacy preserves power. When you embrace privacy, you also embrace peace. You no longer live under the weight of other people's opinions, judgments, or expectations. You don't have to manage what people think about your every move because they don't know your every move. You don't have to correct rumors or defend yourself against lies because your life is no longer open to public inspection. Privacy gives you peace of mind because what others don't know, they can't control. The beauty of privacy is that it allows your results to do the talking. You don't have to say a word when your work speaks for itself. You don't have to brag, announce, or prove anything when your success is undeniable. Privacy shifts your focus from talking about your goals to actually achieving them. It frees your time, energy, and focus for what really matters, the work, the growth, the journey. And when you finally step into the spotlight with your achievements, people will wonder how you did it. They will question where you've been, what you've been doing, how you've managed to move so powerfully in silence, but you won't owe them explanations. All you will owe them is results. That is the power of privacy. So the next time you feel tempted to share everything, pause. Ask yourself, is this ready to be exposed? Is this strong enough to withstand criticism, jealousy, or sabotage? If the answer is no, then protect it. Keep it safe. Guard it until the time is right. Because when you learn the value of privacy, you learn the art of power. Your life is yours. Your dreams are yours. Your struggles, your healing, your victories. They are yours first before they ever belong to the world. Protect them. Nurture them. Let them grow in silence until they are too powerful to be ignored. That is the wisdom of privacy. And that, my friends, is real strength. Not every hand that claps for you is celebrating you. Not every smile directed your way is genuine. Not every person who says they're proud of you truly means it. In life, you will discover that some people are not applauding your progress. They're simply staying close enough to watch you, to study you, and to wait for the moment when you stumble. That is why you must learn to read beyond the applause. Everyone clapping isn't cheering. Some are just making noise. And some are clapping because they want to stay near enough to count your steps toward success. It's one of the hardest truths to accept. The people who act like they support you may not actually want to see you win. Some cheer to blend in with the crowd, but deep down they are hoping your rise doesn't last. Others smile in your face but whisper doubts behind your back. And still others remain close to gather information to keep track of your progress so that when things go wrong they can say, I knew it wouldn't work. The reality is sobering. Envy disguises itself well. Jealousy often hides behind compliments. And sometimes the people you think are on your side are actually the very ones hoping to see you fail. But here's the good news. When you accept that not everyone clapping is cheering, you stop depending on applause altogether. You stop measuring your worth by the noise of the crowd. You stop seeking validation from hands that don't really believe in you. And that's when you gain real power. The power to keep moving forward with or without the crowd, with or without the recognition, with or without the false support. Because your success is not built on their cheers. It is built on your discipline, your focus, and your resilience. Think of history's greatest achievers. Many of them were surrounded not by encouragement, but by doubt, criticism, and even betrayal. Yet they pressed on because their belief in themselves was stronger than the noise around them. They understood that applause is temporary and clapping can be fake. Real support isn't loud, it's consistent. Real support isn't about who congratulates you when you succeed. It's about who stands with you in the silent struggles, in the moments no one else sees, when there is nothing glamorous to cheer for. You must also learn to separate genuine support from disguised envy. The easiest way to tell is by consistency. People who truly cheer for you won't disappear when the excitement fades. They won't only show up for your highlight reel, they'll be there in the unseen grind, in the failures, in the days when nothing looks impressive. Fake supporters, on the other hand, vanish when the spotlight dims. They don't invest in your journey. They only feed off your victories. And if they don't see wins, they lose interest. Or worse, they start secretly celebrating your losses. This is why you must be careful about who you allow into your circle. Not everyone clapping deserves a front row seat in your life. Some need to be kept at a distance. You must become wise enough to protect your space. Because when you mistake fake applause for real support, you expose yourself to sabotage. You open your heart to disappointment. You give weight to voices that were never meant to shape your path. Learn to listen carefully. Sometimes the loudest cheer is also the emptiest one. And don't forget, envy is often silent. Some people won't clap at all. They'll pretend they didn't see your progress, they'll ignore your growth, and they'll stay quiet when you shine. Don't mistake their silence for indifference. It's often jealousy in disguise. They see you winning, but they don't want to acknowledge it. They see you breaking barriers, but their pride won't let them admit it. And that's okay. Your job is not to force anyone to cheer for you. Your job is to keep building, keep climbing, and keep proving yourself to yourself. The truth is, applause feels good, recognition feels good, but if you live for it, you'll die by it. Because the same crowd that cheers for you today can turn on you tomorrow. The same people who say, "I always believed in you," can later say, "I knew you wouldn't make it." That is why your foundation must never be built on applause. It must be built on purpose. When you are driven by purpose, the clapping doesn't distract you and the silence doesn't stop you. You move with consistency, not emotion. You rise with discipline, not external validation. And when you succeed, because you will, you must remember that your success is not for the crowd, not for the applause, not for the approval of those who may or may not have been genuine. Your success is for you, for your journey, and for the few who truly believed in you even when no one was watching. Those are the people who deserve your gratitude, your loyalty, and your openness. Everyone else is just background noise. So don't be fooled by the clapping. Don't be distracted by the noise. Pay attention to actions, not words. Look at consistency, not volume. Protect yourself from fake supporters by focusing on your purpose and your vision. Because when you stop relying on applause, you take back your power. And when you take back your power, nothing, not jealousy, not fake friends, not silent haters, can stop you from becoming everything you were meant to be. Remember this always. Everyone clapping isn't cheering. Some are just waiting. Some are just watching. Some are just pretending. But none of that matters when you know who you are, when you believe in what you're building, and when you keep moving forward regardless of who claps and who doesn't. The real victory is not in being celebrated. It is in becoming unstoppable, no matter who's watching. One of the greatest mistakes people make is giving away too much of their strategy before it's time. They speak too soon, they reveal too much, and they hand over the blueprint to people who were never meant to see it. A blueprint is the master plan. It's the design that holds the vision together, and when you hand it over carelessly, you give others the opportunity to copy it, criticize it, or worse, destroy it. Not everyone who asks what you're working on is asking because they care. Some are asking because they want to measure your progress, some because they want to compare themselves against you, and some because they want to take what you're building and use it for their own benefit. That's why you must be careful with your blueprint. Think about how buildings are made. Before the walls go up, before the paint is applied, before the structure can even stand, there is a blueprint. That design is guarded carefully because it's the roadmap to the entire project. Imagine if the blueprint was tossed into the hands of people who didn't believe in the building, or people who wanted to compete with it. They could delay it, sabotage it, or steal it. The same principle applies to your life. Your goals, your vision, your strategy, these are your blueprint. And if you hand them to the wrong people, you risk watching them collapse before they even stand. You don't owe everyone a detailed explanation of what you're doing. You don't have to reveal every dream you're chasing or every step you're taking. Sometimes silence is your strongest protection. When you're too open, you invite opinions that you never asked for. People will project their fears onto your vision. They'll tell you why it won't work, why it's too risky, why you should quit before you start. Not because they know your potential, but because they're limited by their own. And if you're not careful, you'll let their doubt infect your determination. By sharing too much, you give them permission to weaken the very foundation of your plan. Another danger of handing over your blueprint is imitation. Some people don't want to support your ideas, they want to steal them. You'll be surprised how quickly a person who believes in you can suddenly start working on the same thing you just shared with them. They'll mimic your words, copy your approach, and claim it as their own. And the reason they're able to do that is because you trusted them with details they never earned. There's nothing wrong with inspiring others, but there's a big difference between inspiring and equipping someone to duplicate your hard work. Protect your ideas the way you would protect a child. They need nurturing, not exposure. You must also understand that timing matters. Just because you're excited about your vision doesn't mean you should reveal it prematurely. Some things need to grow in silence before they can survive the light. A seed doesn't sprout the moment it's planted. It spends time hidden in the soil, developing roots strong enough to support what's coming. If you pull it out too soon to show people, you kill it before it ever gets a chance to grow. The same is true of your goals. Don't expose them before they're ready. Don't give people the blueprint before the structure has strength. Learning to keep your blueprint private doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself or do everything alone. It simply means you must be selective. Share your vision with those who have proven themselves trustworthy, those who genuinely want to see you win, and those who can add value to what you're building. Not everyone deserves access to your blueprint. Most people only deserve access to the finished product. Let them see the results when they're undeniable, not the plans when they're vulnerable. When you stop handing over your blueprint, you reclaim control of your future. You no longer waste energy defending your dreams to people who don't believe in them. You no longer waste time explaining your steps to people who won't take a single step for themselves. Instead, you move quietly, strategically, and powerfully. You work in silence and you let your results speak louder than your words ever could. There is a deep satisfaction in surprising people with success they never saw coming because you didn't announce every move along the way. And don't forget, when people can't see your blueprint, they can't predict your next move. They can't interfere because they don't know what to interfere with. They can't sabotage because they don't know the strategy. That unpredictability is a weapon. It keeps you 2 steps ahead. It gives you the freedom to change, adjust, and pivot without being questioned or critiqued. In a world where everyone feels entitled to your story, your greatest strength can be your silence. You must decide what matters more, the appearance of progress or the reality of progress. Talking about your blueprint may make you feel accomplished in the moment. It gives you attention, it gives you validation, but it also gives away your advantage. Quiet progress, on the other hand, may not be glamorous, but it is real. And when the building is finally complete, when the vision finally stands tall, no one can deny it. They won't be able to argue with your results, even if they doubted your plans. So stop handing your blueprint to people who haven't earned the right to see it. Stop over-explaining. Stop exposing every detail of your journey. Move in silence, protect your vision, and trust the process. The time will come when your success is too visible to be ignored. Until then, guard your blueprint, because once it's in the wrong hands, it's no longer just your plan, it becomes their weapon. And you deserve better than that. There is a common belief that strength means telling everyone everything, that being open and transparent all the time is a sign of confidence. But the truth is, real strength is not in sharing everything. It is in knowing what to share, when to share it, and with whom. Selective sharing is not about being secretive. It is about being wise. It is about recognizing that your story, your goals, your struggles, and even your victories are precious. And they should not be thrown to just anyone who happens to be listening. Strength is not in exposure. Strength is in discernment. When you share your life selectively, you protect yourself from unnecessary judgment and criticism. Not everyone who hears your dreams will understand them. Not everyone who learns your struggles will support you. Some people will only take your openness as material to gossip about, to dissect, or to use against you. That is why selective sharing is powerful. It allows you to keep control over your narrative instead of handing it to people who might twist it for their own purposes. Selective sharing also helps you preserve your energy. Every time you reveal something about yourself, you spend emotional energy. You open yourself to the responses, the opinions, and the reactions of others. Some will uplift you, but others will drain you. And when you give too much, you find yourself empty, wondering why you feel weak. The answer is simple. You poured into people who weren't ready to handle what you gave. Strength means guarding your energy by being intentional with what you share and who you share it with. There is also wisdom in timing. Sometimes what you want to share is true, but it isn't ready. It's not mature enough to withstand outside opinions or doubts. Sharing too soon can stunt your progress because the moment you reveal it, you invite voices that may shake your confidence. Strength is not in proving to the world what you're working on. It is in protecting it until it is strong enough to stand on its own. Selective sharing gives your goals space to grow in silence without being crushed by the weight of premature exposure. But selective sharing doesn't just protect you from harm, it also amplifies the value of your words. When you don't share everything, what you do share becomes more powerful. People listen more carefully because they know you don't waste your words. They respect your voice because they recognize it carries weight. When you are always talking, always exposing, always announcing, your words lose their power. But when you are selective, your voice becomes sharp, impactful, and unforgettable. Strength is not in constant expression, it is in purposeful expression. Selective sharing also reveals the quality of the people around you. When you test the waters with small pieces of your truth, you see who handles it with care and who does not. You see who encourages you and who discourages you. You see who holds your confidence and who spreads your secrets. This process allows you to filter out those who don't deserve access to the deeper parts of your life. Over time, you build a circle of trust, not a crowd of spectators. That is true strength, surrounding yourself with people who prove themselves worthy of your openness. And let us be clear, being selective is not weakness. It is not fear. It is not selfishness. It is wisdom. There is a difference between hiding and protecting. Hiding comes from insecurity, but protecting comes from strength. You are not obligated to explain yourself to everyone. You are not required to make your life an open book for anyone who asks. Your experiences are your own. Your lessons are your own. And your journey belongs to you first before it belongs to anyone else. Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is a skill that only the strong develop. When you practice selective sharing, you free yourself from the prison of validation. You stop needing everyone to agree with you, to clap for you, or to understand you. Instead, you live with a deeper sense of peace, because you know that the people who truly matter already know the parts of you that count. And those who don't matter will never have the power to define you because you never gave them the material to do so. That is a freedom many never experience because they confuse constant openness with authenticity. True authenticity is not about telling everything. It is about being true to yourself, even in silence. And finally, selective sharing protects your legacy. When you choose carefully what to reveal, you control the story of your life. You ensure that what people remember about you is not scattered noise, but intentional impact. You shape the way your journey is seen because you gave people only what they needed to see, not everything they could have judged. And in doing so, you leave behind something powerful, something undeniable, something respected. So remember this. Strength is not in exposure. Strength is in discernment. Strength is not in telling everyone your struggles. Strength is in choosing the right people to walk with you through them. Strength is not in announcing every goal. Strength is in protecting your vision until it's unshakable. Strength is not in speaking every time you have the urge. Strength is in knowing when silence will say more than words ever could. Selective sharing is one of the highest forms of strength you can master. It preserves your peace. It protects your energy. It amplifies your voice, and it shapes your legacy. Don't give everyone access to the deepest parts of you. Not everyone is qualified to handle them. Share with purpose. Share with wisdom. Share with intention. Because your story is too valuable, your vision is too precious, and your heart is too sacred to be placed in the wrong hands. There comes a point in life when you realize that words are cheap and promises are fragile. Talking about what you will do may feel good in the moment, but it does not move you closer to the finish line. Announcing your goals, explaining your dreams, and describing your plans may attract attention, but attention alone never builds anything. What truly matters is not what you say you will do, but what you actually accomplish. The loudest voice in the room is not the one that makes the most noise. It is the one whose results cannot be ignored. That is why one of the greatest lessons you can learn is to let success speak for you. We live in a world where everyone is announcing something. People declare their goals, proclaim their ambitions, and broadcast their plans on every platform available. Yet many of those announcements never turn into action. They become empty words, forgotten promises, or half-built dreams. And in the process, credibility is lost. Because when you talk more than you act, people stop believing in your words. They start to view you as noise instead of substance. But when you let your results do the talking, you don't have to convince anyone of your capability. They can see it for themselves. Letting success speak for you means embracing silence while you work. It means pouring your energy into execution instead of explanation. It means waking up each day with the focus to build something so undeniable that it doesn't need defense, argument, or justification. When your work is real, when your growth is evident, when your results are visible, you won't need to beg for recognition. The world will notice, even if you never say a word. There is strength in patience. Some people want to be celebrated before they have achieved anything. They want the applause before they've even finished the race. But that kind of recognition is short-lived, because the world quickly sees through words without results. If you truly want to be respected, don't announce every step, complete the journey, don't broadcast every plan, build the outcome. Respect comes when you've proven what you can do, not when you've promised what you might do. The beauty of letting success speak is that it silences doubt without confrontation. When people question you, you don't have to argue. When they criticize you, you don't have to defend yourself. When they underestimate you, you don't have to prove them wrong with words. You prove them wrong with results. Results are undeniable. They cut through opinions, silence critics, and demand respect. No one can argue with evidence. No one can dismiss what is standing right in front of them. That is why success is the most powerful voice you can ever have. Letting success speak for you also protects your energy. When you stop wasting time convincing people, you start using that time to create. When you stop chasing approval, you start chasing progress. When you stop defending your vision, you start building it. Talking drains energy. Over-explaining drains focus. But action fuels growth. Execution builds momentum. Quiet dedication leads to results that are louder than any speech. And don't mistake silence for weakness. Working quietly does not mean you lack confidence. It means you are confident enough to not need validation along the way. It means you trust yourself enough to keep building even when no one is watching. It means you believe in your vision enough to let it grow without external applause. That is true strength. Trusting the process so deeply that you don't need to constantly announce it. History is full of examples of people who let their success speak. Innovators, leaders, and creators who were doubted, criticized, or ignored in the beginning chose not to waste their time convincing anyone. Instead, they built. And when their results came, the world had no choice but to pay attention. The critics were silenced not by arguments, but by undeniable evidence. The same principle applies to your life. You don't have to argue with people who don't believe in you. You don't have to explain yourself to those who doubt you. Let your work, your growth, and your results speak on your behalf. There is also freedom in letting success speak. When you no longer depend on recognition, you liberate yourself from the prison of opinion. You stop caring who claps, who doubts, and who ignores you, because you know that the results will eventually make the noise. You become free to move in silence, free to fail in private, free to grow without the pressure of the crowd. And when your breakthrough comes, it arrives stronger because it was built on substance, not noise. But letting success speak doesn't mean you should never share your journey. It simply means you should share wisely. Share the victories after they are real. Share the lessons after they are learned. Share the growth after it is undeniable. That way, your words are backed by truth, not just intention. And when you speak from a place of proven experience, your voice carries authority, not just hope. So choose silence over noise. Choose action over announcements. Choose progress over promises. Stop wasting energy telling everyone what you're going to do. Stop seeking applause for work you haven't yet completed. Stop defending visions that don't need defense. Pour your time, your focus, and your heart into the work itself, because when the results arrive, they will speak louder than any speech you could ever give. At the end of the day, the world doesn't remember what you promised. It remembers what you delivered. The world doesn't remember who talked the loudest. It remembers who built the strongest. And the world doesn't respect noise. It respects results. So let your success be your voice, your proof, your legacy. Build quietly, work faithfully, and when it's time, step back and let your results do the talking. That is the ultimate power.